Okay, welcome everyone to today's webinar. I'm Amy Rowan, StreamWorks Marketing Director. And today's webinar is a joint venture between StreamWorks and ImageWorks Marketing. And again, a reminder for those of you who aren't familiar with both, StreamWorks is a direct response marketing company who specializes in leveraging data to create multi-channel campaigns. And ImageWorks is part of the StreamWorks family, and they are a digital and creative agency and really specializes in branding and digital tactics. So today's webinar is going to focus on digital ads and how they both apply to search and social. So another point to mention is that we have about a 50-50 split between self-described beginners and intermediates on the line today with respect to digital ads. So we will try to kind of walk the middle path between the content today to kind of make it interesting and relevant for the intermediates and not too over the head for those of you who are self-described beginners. So presenting today is Tyler Larson, and he is a digital marketing manager for ImageWorks, and in his day-to-day life at ImageWorks is really digital ads and search engine marketing and really helping clients get in front of the right people at the right time to help meet their marketing goals. And Eddie Faulkner, who is StreamWorks Vice President of Marketing Operations, is also sitting in today and will be chiming in occasionally. And he has over 20 years experience in both data and digital tactics. So some relevant experience there for you. So with that, I'm going to turn it, I should mention that just a couple of housekeeping items. We will save time for a Q&A session at the end. So as always, you can ask questions in the control panel. We'll monitor those as we go and save time at the end. We'll try to keep today's webinar around 30 to 40 minutes, but if we get a lot of questions, we absolutely will stay on the line as long as needed to make sure all those get answered. And watch your email because we will be sending out a copy of the slide deck afterwards. So if you need to jump off for whatever reason, don't worry about it. You'll be getting a copy. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Tyler.
All right, thanks a lot, Amy, and thanks everyone for joining us this afternoon for our second installment of our digital content series. So for those of you that are joining us for the second time, welcome back, and those of you that are here for the first time, welcome aboard, and hope you enjoy our presentation here. So just as a quick recap, looking at the first in our series, we were discussing the core elements of search engine marketing and really what that entails. So the first part of our series was looking specifically at organic content and all the ways that a brand can leverage their own material and their own content and their own language in a digital setting to develop web and social content from an organic standpoint to develop search ranking and awareness. And the flip side of that is on the paid content, which is how we buy content to develop reach and further drive engagement. And there are multiple ways that that can be done from a branding standpoint. That's going to include pay-per-click advertising, boosted social media, display advertising, and remarketing services. And that's really going to be the core focus of today's presentation. But really, we want to hit on why that's necessary at all. If you can develop all of your content organically for free, why would you invest in paid advertising? Well, and that's really because more and more the digital marketing landscape is becoming a pay-to-play space because organic reach is being suppressed on social media platforms, just always keeping user experience top of mind. So platforms like Facebook and Google specifically are giving preferential treatment to the content that shows the greatest natural engagement, which may or may not be paid content. So it's always going to be a matter of making sure that you're leveraging all the tools at your disposal to make sure that you can get the most engagement out of your content. So looking at search ranking for new websites takes time, and paid content is a great way to kind of expedite that process to make sure that you're getting the best placement you can from a paid standpoint while you're developing your organic reach over time. So the answer to all that comes down to digital advertising. And through the course of this presentation, we'll break out all the different forms and objectives that you can focus on throughout your development of digital campaigns. So looking objectively at our entire landscape here, what's really going to be the goal of your digital advertising efforts? And that's going to be fundamentally to increase the reach of your brand and be hitting the right people at the right time and for the right reasons. This is really going to be the guiding mantra through all the different formats and platforms that we discussed today. So as we go along, we'll be breaking down these elements and showing you how they carry across through different objectives and different executions. So where do we start? Regardless of the format that any advertisement takes, we're going to be looking at content. So regardless of your approach, your content must always be relevant and compelling to your audience. And for a new brand that's getting started, you might not be sure how to define what relevant and compelling means. And the only answer to that is going to be to test. You're going to want to use the platforms that we have and the benefits that digital advertising offers to be able to iterate and really workshop different forms of content, different messaging, different positioning to find what truly resonates. And then once you lock onto that ideal mixture, then you can start putting real budget behind these efforts and make the most of your advertising efforts long term. And always there will be different platforms and audiences will yield different results. So it's always best to keep experimenting and always embrace new opportunities as they arise and really find what platforms your audience spend their time on and what's going to give you the greatest long-term return on investment. Now, while there are a multitude of different platforms that we can be talking about today, different on the social side and on the search side, Google, Bing, Yahoo, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, all great and all have their place, but for the sake of today's presentation, we're going to be focusing primarily on Google AdWords and Facebook advertising, two of the biggest players in the space. And for a preliminary venture into the digital advertising space, these two will give you the greatest return right away. Now, as you get started, the first question that you're going to want to ask yourself is, what's your objective? What are you looking to get out of your investment in these platforms? And the route we'll be taking this afternoon just be breaking out the various objectives that you can choose from and how those will affect your long-term execution. Starting with Facebook, the first campaign you create, you'll be presented with many different options for the objectives that you can structure your campaigns around. And this is a view into the options that you'll be presented with right off the bat. You'll have the option to boost the post that you have published already, promote your page, send people to your website, increase conversions, get installs of your application if that's what you're promoting, drive people to your business. For location-specific brick-and-mortar operations, you have options to promote your event, claim offers, get video views, promote specific products, or even collect leads directly from the platform. So all of these have their own strengths depending on the outcomes that you're looking for. And we'll get into some of these as we go here. Then on the AdWords side, you'll be presented with three options as you're going to create your first campaign. You have the options of building awareness, driving consideration, or driving specific actions, such as completing a lead generation form, completing a purchase, and things like that. All specific events and conversion actions that you can define throughout the course of your campaign. But all these nuances of the platforms aside, really what it's all going to come down to is defining what the need is for your organization. And regardless of your organization, there are going to be four primary needs that will be addressed depending on what stage of the marketing funnel you're focusing on and the primary key actions and attributes that you're driving for. The first one, very top of the funnel, is just going to be driving awareness and just maximizing your reach in the digital space. Secondly, will be driving engagement. Once you've captured that awareness, really putting it towards some ends to increase consideration of your brand and giving your users as much valuable and relevant content as possible during their consideration process. Third is going to be the conversion step, so taking that engagement and really driving it towards a marketing goal or a business consideration. And then fourth will be just in retention. Once you've captured that customer, really making sure that you give them a reason to come back and maximize that lifetime value. So this is really going to be the structure of our presentation here, breaking out these 4 objectives and showing what ad platforms and bidding styles and content forms are best suited for these 4 objectives. So diving right in, looking at awareness, the goal here is really going to be introducing your brand into the market and building interest and recognition for your brand. And this is going to be ideal for launching a new business or a new product, expanding into new areas or specific markets, or introducing new offers with an established brand. Strategy here will be to reach as wide an audience as possible, but controlling your impressions through demographic and behavioral targeting. And then there's some key ad formats to consider here when you are jumping into specific platforms. And these will be your Google display advertising, which will be graphic banner ads to be placed on third-party sites so you can capture new impressions for audiences that aren't aware of your brand and hitting them on the sites that they traffic already. And then on the social side, there'll be specific page promotions, just getting people aware that your profile exists, getting them to like, and then just jump in and see what kind of content you have to offer. And then specifically the bidding strategies you're going to want to look for here will be a traditional CPM basis, so you're paying per 1,000 impressions. Since you're not driving towards a specific engagement or conversion goal, this is really just about capturing eyeballs and making sure that you're only paying for the form of interaction that you're looking for at this stage. And just as a couple examples, the graphic banner ad that would show up on any traditional ad-supported website. This is one for lynda.com. And on the social side, this is just a solid example for the page promotion type of ad with the like page option button up in the right corner there, so people can get a sense of the kind of content you have to offer. And if it appeals to them, you can like your profile so that your content continues to show up in the newsfeed for that user. Now, secondly, moving on to engagement. Once you have those eyeballs, you've teased a bit of interest. Now it's time to follow up that interest with some substance. So the goal here is going to be getting your audience to take action with the content that you're providing. And this is going to be ideal for selling a product that requires some form of education that justifies a little bit of follow-up content to keep the user working their way down that sales funnel. Differentiating from your competition. If you're in a crowded marketplace, you're going to want to be developing enough content that shows the differences that you offer in the marketplace, or just driving consideration. If you're offering a product or service that is a little bit of a higher threshold, or it has a longer lead time for closing a sale, you're going to want to be filling your content pipeline with enough valuable content that would differentiate your offerings from the competition and really show what the value is that you're providing. Now, looking at the strategy for your content, you'll be really driving that consideration and helping customers research the options that are available. So the ad formats to consider here will be your Google search ads. These will be the traditional pay-per-click ads that show up in search results. So these will be hitting consumers that are actively seeking out options and alternatives, and this will ensure that based on your targeting parameters that your ads will show up in that space. And the boosted social posts will be content that you're publishing organically and helping that content reach a wider audience. The bid strategy here that's going to be most valuable is going to be your cost per click basis, so that you're only spending your budget when users are taking a specific action on your content. So just as an example here, this is a results page from Google for a search for CRM software. So you can see the first 4 stalls in the search results are all paid placements. So for a new brand that needs to be able to get visibility right out of the gate, this is a good opportunity for getting preferred placement as your organic ranking is developing long term. Then on the social side here, a boosted Facebook post looks a bit like this. So this is going out to the audience that you target and gives the traditional options of liking, commenting, sharing, and so forth. All great ways for you to push out content that is geared specifically towards driving engagement and consideration. Now, thirdly, looking at the conversion objective, obviously the goal here is going to be finding customers close to making a purchase decision. And this is going to require some conversion tracking scripts on your website and on your social platform so that you can closely monitor and report on the conversion actions as they occur. And this is going to be ideal for selling an established product or service. So after you've put in the legwork, building up the awareness and driving engagement, now you can really pull those consumers down to this next stage of the sales funnel, and then work on closing that lead or converting on that sale. Now the strategy here, looking at presenting specific incentives to initiate that purchase process. So these will be your time-sensitive offers, clear calls to action, and so forth. So the best ad formats here are going to be your display remarketing, which is a newer offering in the digital ad space in the last 5 years or so. And this is the content that follows you around the internet based on your browsing behavior. So if you've gotten enough engagement from your audience to get them onto your site, but they haven't taken that final step in converting on the goals that you've established, this content will be what follows your prospects around, and you can have your content appear in third-party websites that are ad-supported, just so you can keep your brand top of mind and really work towards that conversion goal. And then on the social side, again, this is an opportunity to leverage new lead generation features that Facebook offers. So this gives you the opportunity to have a lead capture form in sponsored content. So if you're offering a specific offer or an incentive, that can be redeemed directly on the platform there. And it's a good way to build up a targeting list if you're coming right out of the gate and need to start developing those lead resources. The bid strategy here, that's going to be ideal, will be your cost per acquisition. And that's going to ensure that regardless of how many impressions or how much engagement your content's driving, this will only be drawing on your budget when you get the acquisitions you're looking for. So some examples here, looking at example here of Facebook's lead generation option. So this is a bit of a walkthrough to give you a sense of the user experience for one of these ads. So you can click through, see that behind what is a traditional boosted post, the user has the option to redeem that offer, fill out the form, and then you have the lead list developing in your Facebook ads platform. So relatively new offering, but has some potential for new brands and startups getting out of the gate that need a quick and easy way to spin up their inbound marketing efforts. And now moving on to looking at the last stage of our objectives here, which is going to be post-purchase, looking at retention. So the goal here will be maintaining engagement and repeat business from your customer base. So this would be ideal for making sure that you keep your brand top of mind and really maximizing the lifetime value of your customers. The strategy here is going to be developing content that offer, or content and offers that reward that long-term engagement and really incentivize that level of loyalty. And that can be, any number of, rewards programs, retention services, and, just ongoing narratives that really show how customers are using and engaging with your brand, and really rewarding that level of engagement and behavior. Best ad formats here will again be display remarketing, so that your brand and your creative continues to be a part of the user's ecosystem online. So again, staying top of mind and making sure that you can keep leveraging that content as much as possible. And then moving to boosted social, specifically to your followers and any custom audience that you build from your conversion lists. So examples here, looking at remarketing ads here specifically for some nice summer sandals, the kind of ad that would follow you around and make sure that really you can be getting the retention that you're looking for as an e-commerce retailer. And then, another example of social post here that's just geared at users from the Adobe Marketing Cloud. It's going out to that user base specifically, just showing different ways that the platform is being used. Here's an example of Cecil the Lion, and just a example of content that's geared specifically towards just reminding users of the options and availabilities for the platform. So now that's all great, looking at very top level objectives and the different ways it can come to life, but really ask, how does it work? How do we ensure that we're going to be getting the returns that we're looking for with these kinds of ad formats? And really, it always comes down to targeting. So there's going to be obviously different targeting attributes and considerations depending on your brand, depending on your audience, and depending on the specific marketing goals you're driving towards. But the constants in this targeting initiative will always come down to your keywords, your geography, your demographics, your behaviors and interests of your target audience, and then building up retargeting lists that you can leverage over time. So breaking these down individually, looking at keywords, the goal here is going to be identifying questions that your audiences are going to be asking of the market and developing quality answers to satisfy those questions. Keyword targeting always starts with the answers that users are looking for and want answers to, and the brands that are prepared for those questions and have content that can support those. And you're always going to want to be researching the most common keywords for your industry so that you can develop content that suits the most widely asked questions and most commonly sought out content from your audience base. On the AdWords side, this is a view of the keyword planning tool that AdWords offers as you're building up a pay-per-click campaign. When you're inside of this tool, you have the opportunity to see average monthly searches for your industry keywords, the level of competition those AdWords or those keywords are receiving, and the cost per click bids associated with that level of competition. The higher the competition and the higher the search volume, the higher the average bid is going to be for those keywords, just because there is more interest in the marketplace for those, and Google's going to be charging accordingly. So as you're developing your budget and your strategy, this is the good first stop for shaping up what that keyword strategy can look like. Then secondly, looking at geography. This will be pretty familiar to most of you, I'd imagine. Looking at isolating your audience based on country, state, city, and zip code, and so forth. So if you have a brick and mortar operation that will only be servicing a specific area, this is the first place to start so that you're getting the most relevant impressions possible. Or secondly, if you have more of a service area organization where you're impacting a broader range or a broader area, you can pivot towards more radius targeting so that you're hitting multiple cities within the specific radius that you define. Then demographics, again, Should be some fairly familiar attributes here. So identifying your target audience by age and gender. And this is just a view out of AdWords that will give you a general impression of the demographic breakdowns for not only the keywords that you define, but from a display marketing side, the specific websites, affinity categories, behaviors, and interests that you define as a part of your targeting mix will show you the demographic breakdowns for those attributes. Then on the behavior and interest, more specifically, this is going to be your most powerful and nuanced targeting option for your digital ads. And you can, within this framework, you can target users based on their specific browsing habits, so what websites they visit, how frequently, their employment status, so looking at Facebook, the roles and titles that people assign to their profiles. It's a great way to hit on very, very targeted and segmented audiences. Their online purchases. Facebook and Google both give you options to segment by purchase frequency and purchasing categories, so specific products that are getting the most action out of that audience. And then social engagement, what kind of posts and content that are seeing the most traction, likes, comments, shares, and likewise. And then finally, looking at your retargeting list. This is another newer opportunity within the social and digital ad space. And there's a couple differences within this category. Looking at custom audiences first. Custom audiences are a way to target your current customers from your existing CRM or existing customer database by doing an upload to Facebook or to Google based on the email addresses that you have in your database. And the platforms will perform a match on those emails so that you can hit those users specifically. Or looking at a specific website visitor that you've received and developing lists around those. And then secondly, your lookalike audiences, which is a function that Facebook provides. It's a way to expand upon your existing customer list and find users on Facebook specifically that match on very similar attributes to the current customers that you already have. So it's an easy way to expand upon your existing list and hit on users that exhibit similar behaviors and attributes. And then after all this targeting is complete, when you're looking at developing your Facebook audience, you'll have a little fuel gauge here that gives you a sense of how broad or how narrow your targeting is, and will give you some recommendations for either expanding your targeting parameters so that you're getting the most out of your budget, or maybe refining it a little bit so that you're only hitting the most relevant audience possible. Based on all those attributes, you can see below that you'll get some reach estimations across Facebook and Instagram, since they are now one and the same, largely. And this is a good way to be able to set expectations and calculate your ROI based on what your estimated reach will be as a result of the targeting you define and the budget you have set per day or throughout the lifetime of your campaign. And that's really the basics that we're hitting on today. Looking at some final tools and takeaways. First and foremost is going to be your Facebook tracking pixel. And whether or not you're looking to start social advertising anytime soon, this is something that you can get in place right away so that you can be accumulating contacts and building up that retargeting list so that it's ready for you at whatever time you choose to start on your first social advertising campaign. And this is really just an analytics script that you can put within the code of your website for building up that audience and tracking specific actions and behaviors that are driven from your social content. And then secondly, on the Facebook side, is the Facebook IQ platform. And this is a new insight tool that Facebook has just rolled out. And it's great for researching new content, topics, and trends that Facebook is noticing and making available for marketers to take advantage of. And this is a quick view of the type of information that you can see out of this platform, looking at specific volume of mentions around a given topic, showing you a trend line over time for whatever ideas, whatever content topics, news items that are gaining traction, and will show you a demographic breakdown of age and gender for who is engaging most around any given topic that they've pulled out for a given month. Then on the AdWords side, you have your AdWords display planner. And this is a great way to find the best targeting options for display campaigns. And this is really what gets into specific third-party websites that are a part of the Google Display Network, and seeing what demographics and what other attributes of users are active in those spaces. So this will give you a little forecast here as an example of what to expect from the campaign that you're setting up based on all of your targeting parameters. So again, gender breakdowns, age breakdowns, even down to the device level, looking at desktop, mobile, and tablet, what devices your users are engaging with primarily. And again, offering a reach estimation for the kinds of, or the amount of impressions that you can expect in a given month based on the parameters you define. And then lastly, looking at your AdWords auction insights. And this is more relevant for a campaign that's been running for a little while. And it gives you the ability to get into your AdWords keyword bids and see exactly what organizations and what brands you're bidding against for your keywords. And it actually goes so far as to show you a share of impression for a given list of keywords to see proportionally how often your content is being shown relative to other competitors that are bidding on the same keywords. And you can find this in your AdWords platform under campaigns, then keywords, and then details within your keywords tab. And then this is a quick view of what you're able to see. Your platform or your campaign will be highlighted on the top, and then below will be listed the top competitors that are bidding on the same keywords. This is an example from a local plumbing company that we run multiple campaigns for. So you can see there are other relevant organizations there, and we use this frequently to just keep a pulse on the health of our campaign and really keep an eye on who's entering the marketplace and who we need to be aware of. Now, just some final thoughts. We have top 5 things to remember as you're building out your digital ad campaigns. First and foremost, know your objective. Be sure that you're building the right content to suit the outcomes you're looking for. Secondly, be knowing your audience, defining the targeting that makes the most sense so that you're hitting the individuals that you need to support the objectives that you've defined. Thirdly, knowing the content that you're publishing, making sure it's relevant to the audience you define and supports your objectives. And then really, it's about watching your results, making sure that you're not falling into a set it and forget it mentality. This is really where you need to, be active and keep your eyeballs on your metrics and making sure that your strategy is bearing fruit, and you have an opportunity to refine your settings and your targeting as needed. And then lastly, test. This is where the digital ad platform really has the greatest benefit. The marginal cost for creating a second, third, fourth, 50th digital ad as a part of a platform is really marginal. So it gives you great flexibility to be able to experiment and really lock into the right combinations that best suit your brand and best suit your long-term strategy. And with that, I'll turn it over to you guys for any questions. If you want to dive into any of these topics in greater detail, now's the time. I appreciate you all being with us this afternoon, and I hope you are feeling ready to go and happy to jump into your next digital ads campaign.
Okay, thanks, Ty. We do have some questions. So Mike wants to know what is the best platform to generate sales, and doesn't specify. Let's assume it's an e-commerce website.
Well, Mike, that's great. There's no shortage of options for e-commerce retailers, but specifically the Google Merchant Center is the easiest way to get your products immediately in search results with imagery and prices so that consumers can take immediate action. And likewise, Facebook offers specific campaign objectives for e-commerce where you can include imagery, prices, reviews, and even just a carousel of multiple images so you can show similar related products or just multiple variations and options.
Okay, awesome. Next question, this is Sarah. Do you think digital and social ads work better for B2B or B2C companies?
Really, it covers the spectrum. Everyone has a presence online regardless of the market or the space they play in, and it's really going to come down to platform at that point. Obviously, Google search and LinkedIn being ideal for the B2B space, and then some of the more interactive social platforms like Twitter, Pinterest, Instagram, and the like. Those will be your core B2C options for just really getting the users where they already spend the most time.
Perfect. Okay, so a couple of questions related to tracking, and maybe expand a little bit on some of the tools you touched on. One in particular was, could you elaborate on the Facebook Pixel? How do you go about placing one of those on a website? And elaborate a little bit more on that.
Yeah, definitely. So within the Facebook Business Manager, there will be an option for setting up your pixel there. And a pixel is just the Facebook branded term for a tracking script, and it's implemented in a similar fashion as Google Analytics tracking. It just needs to be pasted in the source code of your website, and all that does is capture actions and then push them back to Facebook so that they can be captured in your reporting platform. And the documentation that they offer there is really valuable. There's a lot of detail and options for both you as a marketer or more of a programming or developer focus. So there's enough content to support whoever is going to be doing the ultimate implementation.
So I guess that's the follow-up question, or just to clarify, do you need to, so marketers who have just enough about the back end of their website to be dangerous could implement this code, or is it just kind of know yourself and whether you should attempt this or hand this off to a programmer, whoever's maintaining your site?
Yeah, this is definitely a know thyself scenario. Fortunately, it's really just a cut and paste operation, but as long as you know where the pasting needs to happen, any marketer can be safe doing so. But anytime that you have a programmer or a developer at your disposal, it's an ideal time to leverage their expertise.
Right. And it's assuming hopefully they've already got the analytics code and everything in there too. So, and if not,
that's step one.
That's step one. Absolutely. Okay, so next question, best practices to follow when creating digital display ads. And the thing that comes to mind for me is with regard to Facebook and the text to image ratio.
Yeah, that's a big thing to consider, and that's a rule that is under a lot of alteration over time. But best practices in terms of display advertising on Facebook is going to be to keep your graphics very visual and not dependent on a lot of text support within the image itself. That can be seen to really suppress the reach of your social content. So really just keeping your graphics as simple and clean as possible while using your actual post content, the comment that you put on that shared link, and the preview text that comes through if you're sharing a link, really letting that carry the weight of communicating the specifics of your offer, and just keep your visuals as straightforward as you can. And then flipping on the Google display side, really making sure that your content supports your objective. If you're really trying to drive conversions, make sure that those display heads have a clear call to action and communicate the value of your offer, so that you're not just wasting eyeballs for awareness when you're really looking for specific conversion behavior.
Okay, and just to clarify on the Facebook, be image heavy, light on the text. That's true for both paid and organic, meaning even though you're paying for it, if you are text heavy within your image, you could still be penalized, so to speak, and not get the reach that you would without being text heavy within your image.
That's true. Yeah, always keep the user in mind. If it feels spammy, it probably is. So, good photography and good graphics play well on social. So just keep an eye to design and make sure that you're crafting your imagery in a thoughtful manner, and that it is an accurate reflection of your brand.
Okay, I think that does it for questions. If you guys have questions come up later, or I'm sorry, one more just popped up. Actually, this question plays nicely into where if you want to go to the next slide.
Yep.
So the question was about researching common industry keywords, and so I would suggest taking advantage of this opportunity, because keywords obviously drive both your SEO efforts and your digital paid efforts as well. So for those of you who are joining us today, we will be offering up what we're going to call a keyword forecast, which is tell us your industry, tell us your geographic area, maybe a specific services that you would like to target on. We will run essentially a keyword forecast and kick back 25 keywords to help you build your digital strategy on, and kind of it'll look at the competition for those keywords, potential traffic, tell you what is and what isn't worth targeting, and then what you can expect to pay for those keywords as well. So there will be a follow-up email with a slide deck and a link to take advantage of this keyword forecast as well. In that email, or if you are already working with someone on the ImageWorks or StreamWorks sales teams, for this or anything else, if other questions pop up, by all means, we are here at your disposal. So let us know, and we can definitely clarify or get you more information on anything we've covered today. So I think that's it for questions. Thank you all for joining us. Hope you have a good 4th of July weekend, and watch your email. Thank you.